Hello. 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 I think I made a mistake and created a little echo, so I'll have to trim that out later. Let me get started. I'm still hearing an echo. Let me sort that out. Okay. This is Flow Studio live stream, and this is really an opportunity for me to talk about Flow Studio, which is a product that I've been building and it's been helping hundreds of Flow makers, Power Automate makers, to monitor, to manage, and to improve the cloud flows that they're making. This is something that I plan to. This is a live stream I plan to do regularly, probably every couple of weeks. And because I'm starting out, I haven't really been advertising it, but going forward, as we settle into a good pace, I will advertise it everywhere, so everyone could jump in and hang out with me and ask me questions or anything. So one of the main reasons to do these live streams is to answer questions that I've been talking to a lot of users about, to talk about new features that are coming. So this also acts as a little bit of a feature preview, potentially to get some early feedback as well. So yeah, I will be watching the live stream. There are 2 people online. That's good. 1. If there's any questions, just yell out. So let me get started. The first couple of things. So the first one is we've updated Flow Studio production version to version 1.1.25. So this is the latest build from development, and we now have it published to prod. So currently, right now, production has the same version as dev branch. Has all the latest and the greatest, all the updates from in migrate, in runs, a bunch of performance improvements, and one local storage memory improvement as well. So lots of goodies in 1.1.25. Give me any feedback if you're having issues. I need to sort them out quickly. But hopefully this is a stable one, because we've been testing it on dev for over 2 weeks. Yeah. Next thing is this is a kind of a Q&A. Where do you store my data? And this is a topic that a lot of users of Flow Studio will ask me, because really they are asking, and I really understand they are. They want to use Flow Studio and they want the IT to approve this, but their concern is, and this may be your concern, is that, hey, how is Flow Studio reading my data? Is Flow Studio storing my data? Where are you storing my data? And so these are very legitimate questions. So I kind of wanted to talk about them in one place right now. And this is not an easy question, because Flow Studio has two. There are several, I guess, tiers or several versions of Flow Studio. Flow Studio Free is the part that's the freemium. So let me see if I can make this a bit bigger. Yeah, this column. In the Flow Studio freemium version, this is the part that's Flow Studio. This is the freemium part of Flow Studio. This one lets you see your flow, see your Power Apps, lets you do sort, filter, tags, see sparklines, use the clipboard. This and the Flow Studio Pro version, which additionally does edit JSON, migrate, export data, and so on. These are based, the Flow Studio Premium version is basically running in your browser, and all the communications between your browser and Microsoft Server. So in these two tiers, the Flow Studio Free and Flow Studio Pro, we actually do not store any data. The only thing we store is your email address, and that's purely for checking our licenses. So we need to know if you are a subscriber or you are a freemium user. So the only thing we store on server is your email address. Okay, if you're on these two. Now, this column on the third one, where we call this product Flow Studio for Teams and Enterprise, this is in a previous, about a year ago, I called this Flow Studio Clarity or Power Clarity. Clarity is like an extension to Flow Studio, where if we're dealing with a lot of data, across the many tenants, across many environments, across many users, the browser is too slow to respond to that many flows. So Clarity is, we take a lot of that conversation, the communication between the browser and the server, and we put that into Azure, and then we capture the metadata and store it in a database, and then Clarity uses that data to give you high level and very quick response to information about your flows and Power Apps. And so if you are using, if you are intending to inquire about Clarity does store data in Azure, and this is where we will have a conversation with you about which region you would like to store your data. We currently have regions in Australia, in Europe, and in the US. So we can pick an Azure data center that's suitable for you. The other thing that we list here is own your own data, which is, there is a possibility, this is something that we're still working out, where you could bring your own Azure. You could supply us an Azure Azure storage key, and we'll use that to do all the storage for Clarity. So in that sense, all the data is still stored in something that you control, and we don't control. We don't control that. So hopefully that's a very high level answer. If you're just using Flow Studio on Free or Pro, you do not need to worry about us storing your data. In fact, we don't store your data. And for Teams, sorry, for Teams and Enterprise, for Flow Studio Clarity, we do store in the Azure data center. All right, and if you haven't seen Clarity, this is Clarity. So, yeah. So here is Clarity pulling back its data. Hey, Mark. I'm sorry. Next, I guess there's one more update I wanted to do, which is the next feature is called Zip Export. So Zip Export is a new feature we are adding to Flow Studio, and this is not currently in dev. In the left-hand side, actually, since 1.25, you will notice that we've simplified the navigation on the left. A few of the options that were somewhat confusing. One of it is called flows by action. That one's temporarily being hidden. We need to take it offline to clean up the feature, but the feature doesn't make a lot of sense as a grid. It makes more sense as a kind of a wizard. The idea of that feature is you select a few actions, and then Flow Studio will tell you which flows are using those specific actions. So it kind of needs a nicer wizard for you to select which connector and which actions you're concerned about. One of the scenario for that is if you want to know any flows that are potentially using an obsolete action and you want them to be flagged. So that is what that feature will be about, but that feature will come back in future as kind of a new tool. Now, the feature that we are working on right now is this feature called Flow Export to Zip. And export to zip is an idea that was suggested by one of our users, Ivan Wilson from Sydney. And he asked, hey, it would be really cool if I can export all the flows in an environment from Flow Studio. So this means all the flow names with their definitions. So everything into an environment. And the idea really is that, okay, if you select environment, in this case, Flow Studio Demo, and hit the zip export zip button, it will take all the definitions of every flow in this environment, put it in the zip file, and then save and saves that to your desktop. And one of there are two use cases for it. Oh, I got a kind of a question. This is like a bulk export zips. Yeah. So yeah, you can see which, Brian's making some comments. I'm kind of off screen. Hold on, let me sort this out. Yeah. Right, so that was a previous comment Brian had about which flows are using all actions. Yes, that's the tool. There used to be a tool here called flows by action that did that. We hide it for now. We'll bring it back. Now for zip is a different idea. Zip is to export all the flows for this environment. So this wizard will need to flesh out a bit, but basically say give you a drop down to select which environment, and then export. So this zip you will expect it. You should expect it to have a whole bunch of files, JSON files, each with the definition. Now, the use case that was suggested, there are actually two use cases. One is if you save the current environment, say in November, and then next month you save it again, and then now you have a December copy, you can extract both to your folder and do a folder compare. So you can kind of see what has changed within that month. It's kind of a bulk diff. And that is if you're comparing one environment with itself. The other scenario is if you export a dev environment and then maybe a prod environment, so two different environments, and then, yes, so zip of JSON, yes, zip of JSON, flow definition JSONs, yes. Now, if you export a dev environment and then you export a prod environment, you can use it to compare if you have migrated certain dev flows over to prod. So that's another use case. So very interesting use cases. Now, I think one of the tricky part is if you're comparing the same environment, you want the flow name not to change. So you kind of want to use the flow GUID for a name. But if you're comparing different environments, flow name is going to change anyway. So you probably want the flow display name as the file name. So it's that might have to become two choices. I'm just kind of, depending on your use case, you might want the GUID for the file name, or you might want the display name for the file name. I'm not. Maybe I'll use default display name as a default, but you can choose to use the GUID as an option. Yeah, I was hoping to have this working, but just not working the last second. So I can't demo it. When I do get it to work in the next day or two, I'll put a picture on Twitter and have a look. So I'm up to 15 minutes, and I think Brian's in the chat room. I don't know if he has any questions for me, because no more questions. Yeah. So I guess that's all the updates for now. Okay. I see some shower of hands. Okay, I think I might just stop the stream. Yeah, I think I will stop the stream. Oh, what is the question? You asked a question earlier, but it looks straightforward. What is the question? Can I do live chat? Right. Cool. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I've been playing games, and I watch a lot of YouTube kind of game updates. So every week or every month, you will see a community manager talk about the updates that come into the game, and they will feature some part of what they're building, and then get some early community feedback. And I got a lot of inspiration from that to say, hey, I should do that with Flow Studio. So that's really the idea of, this kind of highly unscripted content that I wanted to do. And they're more like a live chat rather than a heavily edited video with, that I have to prepare. I do have to prepare for this, but most of the preparation is in writing Flow Studio and then updating. Yeah, okay, like a devlog. Yeah, this is kind of like a devlog. Okay, let me cut this short. Thank you, Brian, for tuning in. I'll probably still edit this a bit so it'll be tidied up, and then I'll publish it. Okay. Short one. That's it. Bye.